I don't know why I brought my iPad. I certainly don't need an iPad to talk about this topic. You know what? There's about a million points you could illuminate to show that humanity is not at all intellectually evolved. Concept reification and pigeonholing are two of them, and this is about metaphysics and the ultimate root of wisdom and understanding cosmic mechanics, because there's no difference between physics and metaphysics. I mean, that's incredibly stupid. That's like to say the head of a coin is completely different than the tail of a coin. But anybody with half a brain knows that they're all made of the same metal, right? Same way a magnet actually doesn't have two poles. Sure they do. Everybody knows a magnet has two poles, a North Pole and a South Pole. Who are you, boy? Well, a magnet doesn't actually have two poles. The poles are reifications of a three-dimensional force vector that actually defines the magnetic field. But magnetism is just the dielectric field. For example, this video is not specifically about magnetism, but of course it kind of is, since everything is ultimately interconnected. Concept reification and pigeonholing. Humans love to pigeonhole stuff. I found both of these rocks on the shores of Yalta. Yeah, in present-day Ukraine. Of course, Russia invaded Crimea. Yeah, if you speak Russian, you know what I'm talking about. The word Krim. Well, these are two different things. This is a black rock, and it's basaltic, and this is a white. They both came from the same beach. Pigeonholing. Kind of how human beings love to stick things in little select slots. Like, here's ice, and here's water, and here's steam. What if a slightly more intellectually evolved human being were to say something like, well, this is high temperature, high pressure water, i.e. steam, and this is extremely low temperature water, ice, right? They're all one and the exact same thing, right? They're just differentiated by temperature and pressure mediation. Concept reification. Space, shadows, emptiness, the list goes on and on. Chaos is another one. These are things that don't actually exist. My favorite one is waves. Waves, space, chaos, emptiness. There's a really long list of stuff like that. Space, as Nikola Tesla famously said, has no properties. And really the only time Nikola Tesla came close to foaming at the mouth like a mad dog, not that he actually did, but the only time that he did in vehemently attacking anybody, and Nikola Tesla was not a person that attacked people, was pointing his crooked finger at the intellectual vapidness of Einstein. Einstein and his relativity reified space as having properties, and this notion of bent space-time, curved space-time, that we all grew up with in science fiction shows, ultimately absolutely has no place in cosmic mechanics. Space has no properties, as Nikola Tesla was absolutely correct. Space is also, too, not the terminal for any electrostatic or magnetic field. The fact that space is not a terminal actually says a lot. Time is not a thing. Time is also, too, something else. It doesn't exist, just like a shadow, waves, emptiness, unicorns, leprechauns. These things don't actually exist. Concept reification, something that human beings are extremely adept at doing. We love building structures around things that don't actually exist. Emptiness. There's no such thing as emptiness. I used to debate Buddhists. They talk about experiencing emptiness. Like, who experienced it? Well, I did. So you experienced emptiness. Yes, that's exactly right. So you were in emptiness, right? Yes, I just got done saying to you I experienced emptiness. Well, who? Okay, so you were in it, right? Yes, I already said that twice. Well, if you were in it, it wasn't emptiness by definition, so you never experienced emptiness. What you actually experienced was what we actually call subjective synthesis, which is objective negation. There's no such thing as emptiness. It doesn't exist. This is also, too, the reason why the ancient Greeks, Indians, and Egyptians specifically said that time doesn't exist ultimately. It exists conventionally, but there's no such thing as time. Time can't exist because time is only a measure of magnitudes. It exists conventionally, but it doesn't exist ultimately. Time, every ancient culture said, was the number 4, and that's also, too, the reason why the number 4 doesn't exist in the first 5 digits of the Fibonacci sequence, which, if you don't know, I'll point out to you. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. Let's do that again. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. What's the only number missing? The number 4. Same thing with waves. Scientists love talking about waves. But there's no such thing as a wave. Yeah, just like these flames are waving. Yeah, but waves are not things. Waves are what things do. There's no such thing as a wave. No such thing as emptiness. Space has absolutely no properties. The interconnectivity of everything and the irreducible simplicity of cosmic mechanics, by its very definition, even the radical scientists who I vehemently reject. By the way, I'm going to drink some of this cancer-causing stuff here in a second. This is a diet soda. It'll probably kill me, but that's okay. They've all said, ultimately one day, human beings will understand a grand unified theory. We're going to unite electricity, magnetism, weak force, strong force. They're already united. Human beings just love to divide things. As I've stated explicitly, magnetism is just a dielectric field, and that's not my discovery. That was actually stated by Faraday in his works. Electricity is a hybrid of dielectricity and magnetism. That's not my discovery either. It's a hybrid. Gravity doesn't exist. The phenomenon of gravity is just point non-specific mutual mass acceleration. The same thing that the common worldling calls magnetic attraction. Now, magnetic attraction cannot exist because attraction, or zero force mutual acceleration, is not a force. It's an acceleration. Increasing inertia and acceleration, that's not magnetism. Magnetism is a three-dimensional force vector. There are not two things, nor are there any dualities in nature. And of course, all of quantum, this is not my opinion, all of quantum, by their own definition, is based on our understanding of the nature of light. But they don't know what light is. They'll actually perform experiments using the media of light, but you actually can't conduct experiments with and about light if you don't actually understand what it is in itself. The dual slit experiment cannot be performed because you've already started out, as they do, with false suppositions about the nature of light. It's not a particle. It's not a wave. It's not a wave-particle duality. Yeah, there's no such thing as a photon. That's another conceptual abstraction that has no base. Did you know that J.J. Thomson, the discoverer of the phenomena of the electron, over and over and over again, he called it actually a corpuscle of dielectric force. He himself, the discoverer of same, he never thought it was a particle. Only with being pushed to win a Nobel Prize did he capitulate, because, as I stated in my comment, to a hammer, everything is a nail. And to an unintelligent atomist, everything is atomic. And so he was forced, and he was given the Nobel Prize, to capitulate. But he himself never thought it was a charge-carrying particle. All the greatest minds of electrical theory, Tesla, Faraday, Steinmetz, none of these people ever agreed with this notion that there was such thing as an electron particle. The phenomena, of course, is undeniable, but there's no such thing as an electron particle. There's no such thing as a light particle either. It's completely arbitrary abstraction with no basis in reality. Anyway, the wave-particle duality cannot exist. There are no dualities in nature, duality implying mutual, inherent contradiction. There cannot be any dualities in nature. We can't actually enjoin with the fundamental basis of wisdom, which is true comprehension. True comprehension of wisdom is just like saying tomato, tomato, or potato, potato. We can't actually enjoin that and place upon cosmic mechanics vis-a-vis having wisdom, which is the rarest thing in the world, and essentially nobody has much of it, much less a lot, that there are dualities in nature. There can't be the 5 of this and the 6 of that. There can't be electricity over here and gravity over here and something else over here. There can't be a wave-particle duality. Light's not a particle. A wave is not a thing. There's no such thing as a wave. There's only that which waves. Waves is not a noun. You will find it as a noun in the dictionary, but it's not a noun. It's an adjective. It's said of things, just like running or smiling or happiness. They're attributes of something else. There are no wave-particle dualities. Light's not an emission. It doesn't have a speed. The so-called speed of light is the rate of induction. The maximum rate of a transverse coaxial, which is what light is, coaxial propagation, but the propagation is the rate of induction of the medium itself, the ether perturbation modality, against itself. What it is it's the hysteresis of light as against itself, due to the fact that it actually has a frequency. It actually has a wavelength. Therefore, it must partake of a rate of induction, which we call the speed of light. There's no such thing as a sound emission either. When I talk, I'm actually creating a perturbation in the nitrogen and oxygen that makes up the air, that actually modulates, creates pressure on the microphone, which creates an electrical signal, which is recorded in the camera that I'm talking into. But we all grew up with the notion of speed of sound. Like sound is an emission and it's traveling. It has to be traveling because it has a speed. But human beings don't have, within their limited understanding, the notion of, when we're talking about fields and phenomena of fields, that something can have a speed, but there is not a something there. That speed is a perturbation. The propagation rate, or hysteresis, of a perturbation of the medium as opposed to itself. The hysteresis of the medium against itself. That's what human beings call a speed. You and I all go great. I remember when the Concorde jet flew over a head and it broke the sound barrier. I heard a big crack. Oh, fascinating. It was speed of sound. It's breaking the speed of sound. It's not a speed of sound. By the way, the breaking the sound barrier equivalent in light is Chernikov radiation. If you don't know what Chernikov radiation is, look it up. Nothing travels faster than the speed of light. Well, that's not true at all. But light is not traveling because it's not a thing. It's literally an ether perturbation modality. Specifically, it's a coaxial circuit. Longitudinal rarefaction and compression, transverse electrical magnetic. The irreducible point is that there cannot be such complexity in nature. Fundamental wisdom and fundamental understanding of cosmic mechanics necessitate, not my opinion, but necessitatively say there cannot be these many things. It's absolutely impossible. I made many videos about the reconciliation of light and matter, and it's fundamentally I've been saying that for years, and I made a video about 2 months ago where scientists discovered that by using a ultra-high power laser and in some sort of, I forget the exact circumstances they set up, but they were actually able to spontaneously create matter. And that's all the fundamental particle is an ultra-high energy version of light. Several magnitudes above that of gamma radiation. We shouldn't even be saying gamma ray. Well, this is light and this is radiation. Well, gamma radiation is just high energy light. You see, if you and I had teachers that actually knew what the hell was going on in this universe, this is what they would have said. Instead of saying, we're going to study light today, we're going to study radiation tomorrow, they could have said it in just a few sentences. They would have said, the reason why radiation is dangerous, and the footprint of gamma radiation is infinitely smaller than that of red light, for example, or even blue in spectrum light, is that gamma radiation behaves almost as if it were a matter emission. That's why gamma radiation is dangerous. It actually are like little bits of ammo that are breaking up our DNA. I mean, this is what gamma radiation does. But why does it do that? Because it's of incredible high capacitance. It's high energy light. But it acts like matter. It is both, there's almost a real duality. It's actual light, which gamma radiation is, but it acts nearly like matter. You could actually explain all of light and where they get the idea of the photon from by understanding what light is. Light is a coaxial circuit. It has two phenomena, which are one and the same thing. The rarefaction and compression, the manifestation and dismanifestation of the longitudinal propagation that is light, and the resultant transverse electrical magnetic polarization, whether it be circular or linear polarization, which together form a coaxial circuit. The smaller the space, the higher the capacitance. The closer you get to gamma, the smaller and smaller it gets. So you actually have light that acts like matter, and matter that is light. But many, many magnitudes above that of gamma radiation, what we would actually have is a ZTP, or a zero-time particle, which is the fundamental particle, which is the reason why we're seeing trillions and trillions of tons per second being spit out of the geomagnetic precessional axes of black holes, or also to the centers of galaxies. If you want to see images of this, do a Google search on, they're called two different, they're given several different names, so they're all in reference to the same thing. One of them's called galactic jets, the other one's called astrophysical jets. Galactic jets, astrophysical jets, there's a third name that they give it, like black hole jets. Instead of like pulsars give out energy bursts that we're actually able to register vis-a-vis radio telescope, these black holes actually emit trillions and trillions of tons of fundamental matter, which is the hydrogen nucleus, obviously so. All atoms, of course, are irreducibly compound phenomena of hydrogen. Every element on the periodic table, and ones we haven't even discovered yet, are just compound structures, some more stable than others, but they're compounds of hydrogen. This means the reconciliation of light and matter has been concluded. It means that there are no dualities in nature. The irreducible simplicity of everything is divinely simple, because there are no dualities in nature. It can't exist that way. I don't care if someone is an atheist, an atomist, into Stoicism. I don't care what at the fundamental core, whether they admit it or not, everybody knows that at the absolute foundation, or the basement of everything, is an irreducible oneness and simplicity that easily explains all observed phenomena. Light, matter, every type of field modality and their interaction, and the absolute irreducible simplicity of everything. But that requires both understanding, comprehension, and wisdom, something that's, of course, extremely lacking in today's society, of course. Quantum has no connection to the fabric of reality. I'll point you to an interesting fact that no one ever mentions except for me. The people that gave us our entire electrical grid and everything that the whole world runs off today, people like Tesla, James Clerk Maxwell, Charles Proteus Steinmetz, Oliver Heaviside, none of these people ever used or referred to the term quantum, because it has absolutely nothing to do with natura naturans, i.e. Mother Nature. The term quantum is an artificial construct that refers to nothing. You could take any book, I'm looking for a book but I don't have one here close at hand, and just open it up and just use the word quantum after every fourth word, and it sounds like a modern science, which is not science at all by absolute definition. It's a religion. It's not science, it's not common sense, it's not even logical. Well, we got quantum computers. Well, I got a quantum heating device in my kitchen, conventionally called a microwave. You can call anything, this is a quantum radio. It operates off the principles of quantum juxtaposition of electromagnetic interference. You're basically saying it's a radio receiver. Yes, it's a quantum receiver. Because that's what the answer you'll get from all these people that believe in this religion. And that's what it is, it's a religion. It's quantum. That's right, it's quantum. Quantum doesn't refer to anything. It has nothing to do with any field phenomena. It's not necessary, it's not found within the four Maxwellian field equations. It has nothing to do with any field. It has nothing to do with anything. It's an arbitrary conceptual abstraction that is used vehemently 1,000 different ways. Modern science has lost such lucid, clear insight into the nature and fabric of reality that they've diverged completely off the book. They've literally slipped off the edge. Not that there is an edge, There'd be some like sort of flat earther that said, hey, he's admitted there's an edge. No, I'm not one of those people at all. This is the reason why Nikola Tesla said, there are those that can think deeply, but they can't think clearly. You have to be able to think clearly and deeply. Because insane asylums, are full of a lot of deep thinkers. Grandmasters of chess, really intelligent people. That doesn't mean anything. They can't see clearly. They have no wisdom. They have no insight. They can do long-form algorithms in an imaginary chalkboard, but they're really doing the math. And they'll get you the right answer. Really deep thinkers, but they can't see clearly at all. They don't even understand the most simplex of things. There is nothing within Mother Nature that they comprehend. They're incredibly intelligent, but they're totally clueless. This is the difference and distinction between empirical knowledge and wisdom and insight. Huge difference. Something nobody today talks about. Nobody today even acknowledges. They just think being smart's good. No, it's not. It's good. It's better than being dumb. It's important as being wise and having the insight to understand things. True comprehension does not come from empirical knowledge in the collection of endless facts like a computer. I got 14 terabytes of data. There's all the empirical data there in the world, but it doesn't know anything. I could fill my head if I could memorize all that garbage. I don't collect garbage, but if I could memorize all that stuff, it wouldn't do me any good. It would do me a little bit of good, but it doesn't give you insight into understanding and the fabric of existence. These are two completely different destinations. One is not connected to the other. Anyway, hope you like this video. If you don't, then there's probably something wrong with you. Either that or you just don't like me personally, which is perfectly okay. Okay? Any donations always greatly welcome, but I hope you like the video. Goodbye.